I'm going to share the screen so you can see my Kali Linux screen. Now let me know, since this is a Kali screen on a VirtualBox, let me know if you cannot see it. Can you guys see that okay? All right. Okay, so have many of you had a chance to use Kali at all? A little bit? Okay. Gwen hasn't? All right, so I don't know if you read what the lab is for this week. It's just basically you just need to do a Kali install write-up. So you need to write it up like you would be for a new user. So basically write down the steps that you do as you install it. That's just what you need to do. You can use VirtualBox, you can use any of the other stuff, whatever your preference is. Just put in the directions, whether you're using VirtualBox, VMware, whatever. So that you're, whoever you're writing it for, because think of it like well, I don't want to say you're writing it for an idiot, but think of it like you're writing it for someone who doesn't have any experience. So just remember that. So, okay, so since that's your lab write-up, I'm not going to do that for you. So right now we're going to go into, writing instructions. Yes, that's exactly it. So you should have an easy time with it, Mike. So, okay, so when you go into Linux, there's this up here in the upper left-hand corner. Let me make this a little bigger. You have the little, basically it's like their version of a start bar. And each section is broken out into like the different types of things that you can do. Yeah, it had a different background. This is a newer version. This is an updated version from the last one I used. So it's got some different stuff in here. So if you look, there's your vulnerability analysis. This is the stuff for the defensive here. If you're doing any sort of information gathering, web application analysis, databases, passwords, wireless, reverse engineering, exploitation, sniffing and spoofing, post-exploit, the forensics. See, it didn't used to be used for forensics, but a lot of people are realizing that Kali Linux is pretty cool and you can use it for a lot of stuff. So they actually have a root version of autopsy that you can use on here as well. And you go down here. There's some reporting tools, more social engineering stuff, and there's some other things down here as well. So for today, I believe I have, give me a second here. There was one I picked out. I think it was NIKTO that I wanted to use with you guys. Let me hit stop share for just a second here because I need to go look at, okay, so there are some, just so you know, there are some resources for people to use that allow you, like there's some websites that are specifically made out there for you to run this stuff on. They're broken websites that were developed broken so that you could go out and run these tools on them, and they're maintained just purely for you guys to mess with. So let's see, NIKTO, because that's one that a lot of people don't go over. I will go over that in our next class in more in depth, but it's kind of a fun one to go over. And one that is used a lot is NMAP, and we've talked about that frequently. So I'm going to show you guys how to use NMAP and NIKTO tonight. So it's just going to be a quick little rundown, and I will have links on some of that stuff for you guys as well. Now let me go back in and reshare my screen. And please, on this, stop me immediately if you have questions, because it's a little bit easier when it's, there we go. Sorry, it kind of hides it on the share stuff. There, okay. You guys see it okay? If you have questions, stop me immediately. Then I will stop for you. So a lot of stuff, knowing where your command prompt is, let me open that for you again so you can see it. So up here at the top, you have your file explorer. There's your browser. One of the things that you're going to learn to use the most, though, is your command prompt. And I made mine super easy so that it wouldn't be that hard to use. And so we're going to be using that for NMAP. And it's been a while since I've used NMAP, so I'm going to be scooting this over a little bit while I talk to you guys at the same time. Let's see. There, now I have NMAP stuff where I can see it. Yes, Meep. You'll be sad to know they can't hear you. Every time I try to bring my voice recorder on to record her so you guys can hear the concert, she stops. She's being a little butt. Okay, so if you're doing a quick scan, it's NMAP. That is just for a port. And then you do an IP address. So P is for the port. Let's do port 80. Oh, I forgot it. Turns off your switching back and forth on virtual machines will turn off your NMAP, just an FYI. And the nice thing about NMAP is they let you scan their website to play with. So they actually give you their IP address. Oops, that's not it. Of their website. So you can see what it looks like. Okay. So this is, you say NMAP, scan port 80 on this IP address. So it scans at https://nmap.org, and that says, okay, this host is up, but TCP port 80 is closed, and there's the service that it does. Does that make sense? Yeah, yeah. Yeah, you're probably right about me. I didn't say you could record me. You know, then I'll probably have to catch her off guard sometime, and I have never been able to successfully catch her when she's been giving a solo. So she always does it when I've got the TV on or something else going. So now let me, if you ever want to, I think it's NMAP. It's -H. Okay, yeah, -H is your help. Whoops. And there's all of your tons and tons of switches you can use. So if we want to use that same host, we can do a list scan. It'll list a ping scan. It'll show disabled ports. So why don't we do that on that same one, and you guys can see it'll take a little bit longer. Of course, I promptly forgot which one that one was. I think it's SN. Yes, SN. And let's see if it'll let us just do the straight port, IP on this. Okay, so all this is going to show us is that it is up. So, and you can see that it's got, that's all you're going to get off of this. So what I like to do is I like to go through and if I remember correctly, this one is the one that shows you, and this, just so you know, NMAP is case sensitive with the switches. So if you see -V-, notice I'm seeing that capital A. That one is capital, and it has to be a capital. So there's an example there we're going to run. And this one can show. Okay. See how it's going through and it's running all of these different scans. And then we'll get a nice little list of them there. Yeah, took me a second. You can tell I'm tired. I'm in. Yes. So this is working through, as you can see. All right, there's your open port. Which port is open? There's a 2280 on this, and this is an 80, and you can see which ones it's actually discovering as it's going along. This one, the V-A, let's see, short V, and I seem to remember there being a question about the V-A in one of the CERT exams that I took. Port ranges. Okay, so if you want to do a port and only want to do a range, you put them in between those brackets. You can see there's different scan techniques. There's a UDP scan. There's TCP null flags. There's what's called, see that SX, that's what's called a Christmas scan, and they call it that because it lights everything up. That is not what would be called a passive scan. Everything can see that coming. SV probes open ports to determine service and version modes. That one's a really good one if you're trying to figure out what they're running. SC, that one's your like a script one. And then you can see there's different ones you can use down there. There's an OS detect that you can run. Let's see. There's your firewall IDS evasion and spoofing section. Okay, V, this is verbosity level, or V, if you add two Vs, that just means that it has greater effect. And A, I believe, is operating system detection. So let's see how we're going. And I may have to abort this because it might take too long. If I can remember how. Oh, yep, there we go. It finally just whoop, down another one. Yeah, the more V's, the more likely you are to be detected. That is correct. So if you don't want to be detected, it's better to just run with one of them and hope that they are not running something that is looking for that. Just like if you don't want to be detected, using the Christmas scan is not a good idea. Ah, there we go. Finally popped it down. Okay, so let's start at the bottom here. There's your script post scanning, and it's showing which ones it scanned, and then which ones it detected. But you can see how much V-A has on here. It scans for, there's a ping scan, DNS resolution. Then it has some open ports that it's discovered. So there's 4 open ports that it's listing, and it lists the IP address for those. It has how much time it took for the completed connect scan, initiating service scans, and a whole bunch of other stuff here. So this is just an example. There's lots and lots of things, as you saw when we did the space-H for NMAP, that you can do. So NMAP is a really, really good one that I highly suggest you use at some point. Are there any questions on NMAP or anything you want to see run on NMAP before I go on to NIKTO? Yes. No, we've fallen asleep. Nope. Okay. NMAP is one I figured you guys would probably have heard of anyway. So NIKTO is one that does vulnerability scanning for web servers and web applications. And it's best if you point this one towards a website. Now, we could do the scanme.nmap.org like we just did, but there is a really cool website that I found out there that is called Hack This Site. And if you point stuff at it, it gives you Metasploit is something that I cover in a later class because it has tons and tons and tons of things that you can go through. So we're not covering Metasploit tonight, but it is one that I highly suggest that if you want to, you mess with. And there are tons of YouTube videos and online tutorials on Metasploit. Now, I will say that there are a lot of ways that you can mess up with Metasploit, so be aware of that too. And also, never, ever, ever leverage any of these against websites you do not have permission to go against, because it's illegal and they can backtrace a lot of these as well. Okay, so NIKTO. Let me see if there's... Reshare that. Okay, so the easiest way to find this one is, yes, I'm aware I'm sharing. Would you stop? There's a little box up there. It's NIKTO. And you can launch it out of the help bar too. This is just NIKTO-H. This is the help section for NIKTO. And so that's all sorts of, like you can see, there's tons and tons of different little things you can do with NIKTO. I personally think NIKTO is a blast, especially when you have a fun little website that you can use to hit. So let's see. I need to go find the switch for this. Hold on. Sorry. I want to make sure I have the right. I think it's just NIKTO. Install. All right, let's try. I don't believe this is an SSH. Okay, so if you're doing anything, just like the other page with NMAP, type out the NIKTO. This one we're gonna do -H, and then I don't think you need brackets. No, you don't need brackets. Let me get the website. I can't remember if it's just the site or if it's site.org. All right. Okay, these guys, this is one of those sites that was created specifically for you to mess with. So you can go to town on this one. Okay, so you can see it's starting to go through here. So there's what your IP address is for this, your ports, your start time. There are quite a few things this is going to bring up for us. There is no banner out there that it retrieved. And then as you can see, it's already starting to pull things down for us to look at. This one takes a little bit longer because the switch that I did pulls a lot of information. So what it's looking for is it's looking for holes and vulnerabilities that are on the website that you can, yeah, there we go. Problems. It's just going to go out and search and be like, does it have this problem? No. Does it have this problem? Yes. Does it? And that's why I love using this one. Yeah, those are the multiple IP addresses for it. What did you ask? Yep, they're the ones in its supposedly in its network that it's got available. A lot of times there's a range when you have an org site, they'll have an entire range that they've got. So those are all of the ones that they have that they have attributed there. So. And if you see, there's some regular IPv4, and it also has brought up the IPv6 ones as well. Then, let's see, the anti-click tracking framework options. So it says there's no header present for that, which means that you might be able to use a clickjacking attack. X contact type option headers not set. That one it says it could allow the user agent to render the content of the site in a different fashion. So, and the nice thing about this, it gives you all sorts of like different links to the websites for the vulnerabilities, which I think is wild. So yeah, that's the nice thing. You can check their range out. And we can put other websites in here so you can try them out and look at them too. But this one specifically was created with a whole bunch of problems, just so you could see, okay, this is what a broken website looks like and what we could do to get the information out of this. So sorry, it'll take just a second, but you'll get to see a lot of really cool stuff as it finishes. So are there any questions while NIKTO's chugging along here? Any questions on NIKTO, NMAP? While this is running, are there any other questions on Kali that you want to ask? Just because I'm not covering Metasploit tonight, it's because we have an 8-week course where we're going to have a bunch of Metasploit content next semester. So I have not used Parrot OS. It's one of those ones that's on my to-do list, but I haven't used it. I've heard it's really good, but what do you mean by wasn't a daily driver OS? Like it won't function like Ubuntu? You can use it for daily use, but it is more aimed towards the security portion. But the only reason I would use it daily is just to hone my security skills. Because a lot of it is it's just purely defensive. It used to be like more red then it was kind of, okay, we'll throw some blue in here. Now I consider it like a purple box installation because it has a fairly large portion of both red and blue team tools. But yeah, most of Kali is purely created for security. So if you're doing security on a daily basis, then absolutely. But if you're looking for something to replace your Windows machine, probably not. I would stick with something like Ubuntu for that if you're using a Linux OS. But that's just because Ubuntu has been around for a while, and then it's a lot easier, especially when you're doing DLLs and things like that. If you have Linux questions, Zach's the guy to ask about tons of Linux questions. I know enough to get through things for security, but Zach actually uses Linux as his main go-to OS. Yeah, Zach! I'm not sure. Yeah, he's not on right now. Bummer. But yeah, hit him up on at him on Discord. He is the man when it comes to Linux. He really knows it. Yeah, I got out of habit of using it. Oh, there we go. No CGI directories. It finally came in through that. So this can take a little while. We're just going to let it run while we chat about Kali and things like that. Yeah, a lot of people don't want to use Linux because they don't want to have the extra work in setting it up. I will say that I really enjoyed the Raspberry Pi one that came with it. I got one of those little Fisher Price keyboard looking ones, and I got the kit, and it came with a preloaded copy of the Raspberry Linux, and it's really nice. I really enjoy it. But because Raspberry Pis are so insanely expensive right now, it's just kind of hard to be like, yes, go get a Raspberry Pi. It's like, good luck getting a Raspberry Pi. I did hear the Raspberry Pi 5 is going to come out soon. I don't know if they have people with copies of it. Yes. Yeah, it's kind of easier to buy a home at this point. Yeah, pretty much, which is sad. I mean, a $50 machine that's running on sale for over $200 is just insane to me. So there are some really good alternatives to Raspberry Pis that have been popping up. The only problem is there are not as many when it comes to the support. That's the thing that people love, is the community, and because there's a huge dev community out there for it. So okay, this is broken. I can go look for some documentation on it. And 9 times out of 10, you'll find it, or you'll find someone else who's been through it and they can help you through it. Whereas when it comes to other things, not so much. There was a really good one that I just watched on, what was it? He had it. I'll have to share it with you guys, but it was an alternative to a Raspberry Pi. And it was more for I've seen quite a few different ones. I actually had a student buy they call them Le Potato, and it's not as easy out of the box, and he had to do some coding to get it to work. But yeah, there you go. That's not too bad considering how expensive they've been. $62 isn't too bad. What I did, I got lucky, is, and this is what I suggest you do anytime you're looking for hardware like this. A lot of them have email me when it's in stock, and I set aside however much I knew it was going to be, and I had like 4 different distributors, and it just so happened, I think it was Adafruit that I managed to get through, and I got the whole kit. It had like book and all the cords you needed, and the operating system, SD card and everything. And I snagged the whole thing for, it was worth it at $100 because it had everything. It had your mouse, your built-in keyboard, your mini HDMI cord for it, and luckily the monitor that I have for it, for my secondary station, allows 2 different HDMI inputs. So it worked out pretty well. I will say, if you want some cool stuff for Raspberry Pis, Adafruit has some amazing cases, and yeah, there's some really cool 3D printer stuff. And there are some really great projects out there on Adafruit. So it's pretty cool. Yeah, we should have our 3D printing people give a talk to us some night. Okay, well, this looks like it's stalled out, but sometimes you just have to let it sit there for a while. So do you guys kind of get the idea of what NIKTO is and how to run it? Okay. Is there anything else you guys want me to do a quick run through? Other than Metasploit, I know you'll ask about that one, but that one I'm saving because you have labs that we'll do on that when it comes to the, I'm not doing Python, but very funny. In Cali. Hello, kitty. Again, in Cali. But if you guys feel like you have enough on here and you've gotten a couple of the tools, there are, I'll tell you some of the ones that we're going to use next semester. So we're going to be hitting the password tax section next semester. We're going to do the password hashing tools. Let's see. I can't remember if there it is. John down there. And Hashcat. I have labs on using both of those. And what I do is I create a hash for you guys that just says something silly. And I teach you guys how to run those through Hashcat and John. And yeah, John the Ripper is really cool. I have not used Medusa, but I was actually thinking about messing with that one too. We're going to learn how to do word lists and things like that next semester. This is in the, basically it's all the stuff that for certified ethical hacker. And because we just recently, this is good news for you guys, because we just recently switched over to the material for EC Council, who are the ones that host the certified ethical hacker certification exams. Usually before you can take that, you have to work at an IT security job for 2 years. Now, because we're doing that and because we have a special deal as a local college, they are waiving that requirement and you guys will all get a voucher so that you can take the certified ethical hacker exam. I am not, because you guys are the first class that I am using the official material for. I am not going to use that as my final. I will probably use a practice exam and then give you guys the voucher to take on your own time, because the certified ethical hacker is a very difficult exam. But I would like to know when you guys take it, what you got on it, whether you passed or not. Just because I want to know, hey, good job, or you know, maybe we can get you another voucher if you weren't able to get it. So I was really excited. And I'm also going to be using a bunch of stuff. Hopefully I can get in and use their computer, because I have the CEH, the Certified Ethical Hacker, and then I have the Computer Hacking Forensic Investigator certs. And I want to use some of the CHFI material for you guys because there's some really cool stuff in it. And I think that one is actually an easier cert than the certified ethical hacker, but that's just me. So I'm kind of hoping that maybe in the future we can get them to give us 2 vouchers and we can give you guys the chance to have more stuff to not necessarily tie to be like, you have to have these certification exams or else you don't pass, but so you can have the option to take those exams when you get a chance to. But you'll have a lot of the materials that you can actually look at. So I think you'll enjoy that. Okay, so I think that's, let me hit stop share. I think that's it for us tonight on the lab. So for your lab write-up, Remember, you're writing it up as a new installation on a virtual machine. Unless you have a dedicated machine that you can do it on, if you can do it on that, that's great. Write it up that way. Just write it up, make sure it's a detailed one. If you want to throw in some print screenshots for it, that's great. But I do have to grade on content and grammar, so remember that. So you guys have a good night. I'm going to hit stop here on the recording.